Hello, and welcome to Ask Coach. No, I'm not. This is not Ask Coach Dorie. This is Welcome to Don't Ask Me Shit, the podcast where we stop sugarcoating, we stop. I'm gonna get this right. Where we stop pretending, stop sugarcoating, and stop dancing around the real issues. I am Coach Dorie, and I am here to help people heal from toxic relationships that could be family, friends, and romantic partners. Remember, you can ask me anything, but if you're not ready to do the work, don't ask me shit. Today I'm just coming straight live. I'm not doing any restreaming or anything because I don't have the technical support that I need right now. So I'm getting ready to make my life easier and just record this as I do this live on Facebook. If you're looking for me on YouTube, I will be up there later today. But also, I am now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So you can listen to me anytime, any place. Trying to figure out how to get up on Instagram and get up on what's the name, TikTok and all that stuff too. So today our topic is, why am I spiraling? Oh my gosh, spiraling. Have you ever reacted to something small? It could be a delayed text, a tone, I'm big on tones. Somebody's tone changes when they're talking to you. Somebody canceled plans, and a lot of times, or even if it hasn't been you, have you ever been around someone that has done that, and you kind of looking like, what's the big deal? Your reaction is a little bit extra for this particular incident. So I'm going to explain to you today what is actually happening with that person. You know, I got my notes because I be trying to remember stuff, but my brain just, it won't let me go there. It won't let me stay there. So I'm going to be reading off my notes. You're going to have to just deal with it, okay? So when that's happening, and if it's happened to you, have you paid attention to your heartbeat? Have you paid attention to your thoughts? That your heart will start racing. Your thoughts will start just going in loops, and you're just thinking things over and over again. So today we're going to actually talk about both spiraling, but we're going to talk about triggers. A lot of people misunderstand what triggers are. They're not an excuse for bad behavior, and we're going to talk about that too. Trust me, we always got to talk about us dealing with our BS, right? So we're going to address that today too. But what's actually happening to your body is not just, it's mental, it's physiological, it's actually science. So your body is actually responding to the trauma. When there's a tone change, when there's misunderstanding, when there's a delayed text, when somebody enters or shows up that you weren't expecting, your body has a natural chemical response to what it perceives as danger. If you've been in toxic relationships, narcissistic relationships, betrayal, trauma, when those things come, your body detects fear. The book, I've been reading the book, The Body Keeps the Score, and your body holds on to the traumas even before your brain has a chance to catch up with what's happening. So it's not you overreacting. It's not you being weak. It's not you just being extra. There's actually physical things that are going on in your body that's encouraging you to respond this way. The survivor actually also becomes hypervigilant, scanning the room for trouble, trying to figure out how they can get away from the trouble and all those things. It's looking for familiar danger. If someone comes in and they've caused you harm, your body is bracing to fight, flight, or freeze from that particular person and that particular situation that has caused you harm. So the trigger is not even you being in the trigger is not telling your brain that you're in the present moment. It's telling you, it's giving you alerts to your past patterns, okay? So that's what That's what your spiraling is. So the definition of spiraling in mental health refers to a rapid, uncontrollable escalation of negative thoughts, emotions, or behaviors, often triggered by stress, anxiety, or trauma. It involves a loop of catastrophic thinking where small negative thoughts intensify, leading you to feel the feelings of panic, helplessness, and shame. So some of the aspects of spiraling is cognitive distortion. I cannot talk. It's catastrophizing. It's taking a small issue and it's making it really big. Okay. Emotional escalation. You have the inability to calm down. And again, it's taking your feelings that you feel and it's making it really big. Physical symptoms, you may feel it in your body. I know I personally feel it in my chest. My heart starts racing. My shoulders get tense. You'll feel the escalation in your body. And then you also can have symptoms of behavior withdrawal, the tendency to isolate from others, skip responsibilities, or stop caring for your daily needs. So spiraling is not a little thing. It's not just an overreaction to something small. It's big. Okay. It's not something that you should overlook, because this can cause you to respond and have behaviors that show up that are not good for you, both physically and mentally, but even cause harm to other people. So you need to learn to really pay attention to what's happening to your body. It's a trigger in a sense. Yeah. It's letting you know that something's not right. So pay attention to what's going on. Again, it is caused by triggers. And we could talk about triggers for a moment. A trigger is an internal emotional response, often sudden and intense, and it signals something inside of you. It's activated. Usually connected with past experience, wound, or unmet need that hasn't fully healed yet. Now, when you talk about triggers, especially with toxic relationships, we're very familiar with PTSD. We veterans during the 4th of July, when there's intense fireworks and things, can have an intense response to fireworks, cars backfiring, and we accept that and we understand that. But for some reason, when it comes to narcissistic abuse, childhood abuse, not so much childhood abuse, but even just different childhood traumas and situations, we tend to not look at the PTSD the same way. And the truth is, there are several different types of PTSD. You have acute, that comes from a sudden single accident that definitely was uncontrollable, a car accident, the Twin Towers, or some type of earth catastrophic event. But it's a single event. It's a single event that it stays in your body. So there are different things that can trigger it, and you have an emotional response to that. But there's also chronic PTSD, where you have repeated, prolonged exposure to something. So this could be childhood bullying. This could be I wrote some things down, but it could be things like that happens over a period of time. And so somebody comes into a room, makes a comment that maybe your bully made or something, and it sends you into something. But then there's also, what is this? I don't know what this is. There's also complex PTSD. And that's what most of us deal with when it comes to childhood neglect or abuse. Oh, chronic domestic violence. That's what I was trying to say. Those type of things. But complex PTSD is what most of us are experiencing, especially when it comes to these triggers. they come from childhood, they come from conditioning, they come from um, toxic relationships, narcissistic abusive relationships. So a lot of us want to separate what veterans deal with and the acute PTSD. We want to separate it from the complex PTSD, and we make the complex PTSD as if it's not as serious, but the body doesn't know the difference. So danger to your body is danger to your body. Danger mentally is danger mentally. So this is why we're responding to things the way that we are when we feel triggered. So what are some of triggers? That's the unfamiliar. It feels familiar and unsafe. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. All right, triggers also often show up as overwhelming emotions, feeling disproportionately upset, defensive shutdown or urgency to protect oneself, emotional reactions that feel bigger than the moment. Now let's talk for a minute about what triggers are not. Okay? Triggers are not someone else controlling your emotions. Okay? So you want to sit up and tell somebody, you're triggering me. That's not their responsibility. Well, no, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about, I have a list here of 50 common triggers. Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute because I got a little bit ahead of myself, right? So what are some of the common triggers that you may experience that you don't even realize that your body's like, there are communication triggers, being left on read. Somebody read your text and don't respond to you. And you like, what the hell? I know you saw that. Why are you not responding? And then you go into a loop. Did I do something wrong? What happened? Is everything okay? And all this stuff. And then you start spiraling and respond. You can respond frantically, sending messages, texting, calling. That's a common trigger, especially when you have abandonment wounds. One word responses. Somebody say, "Are you okay?" Yep. I know for me personally, that's like, yeah, that don't sound right. That don't sound like you actually okay. Trust triggers, phone secrecy. If you've been in relationships where people have cheated on you or, done things, sneak around and all kinds of stuff. Somebody playing with their phone, turning their phone upside down, turning their ringers off. Yeah, that's a trigger, and that'll send you into something. I'm here to tell you. Inconsistencies in stories. When people start they trying to tell you something, but it don't sound right. That don't sound right. You got too many things. It don't add up. Your timeline ain't right. Your mileage is not right. I'm watching your mileage, and it take you 2 miles from here to your cousin's house, but you got 20 miles on here. Now these are extreme cases. I personally haven't done this, but these are triggers. But this is hypervigilant behavior because you've been in toxic and you were dealing with betrayal trauma from past relationships. So trust triggers, deleted messages, blame shifting, psychological triggers. Oh, someone telling you crazy? Don't do that. Don't do that. Because I know what I know. Don't come up in here telling me I'm tripping, there's something wrong, and I'm crazy. No, I am not. And that will send me into something. Don't do that. Okay? Having your memory questioned. Somebody said, that didn't happen like that. This is one of the things that I had to deal with some relatives. We have I know even with my siblings, we've dealt with traumatic situations that we all have 3 different views, and we were all sitting there in the same thing. And so taking this to another adult that may have been there, and they're telling me, no, that's not how, no ma'am, no sir, you do not have the right to question my lived experience. This is what I experienced. Don't question me. Don't make me defend that. But that's a trigger that could send people into stuff. You know, be more curious than accusative. Ask questions. Don't go accusing people of stuff. Feeling replaceable is a psychological trigger. Being compared. If y'all know me, y'all know I hate. Don't compare me to nobody. That's a trigger. It really is. So, if I seem like it's not understood or a little irrational when you compare me to somebody, this is why my body is like reacting to something. Okay, abandonment triggers. Canceling last minute. Don't cancel me. Emotional distance. If you feel like someone is not quite present and feel some, that's a trigger. Raised voices. Again, tone is very important to me. Don't yell at me. Don't raise your voice, because I grew up in the house with yelling. Don't yell at me. That does something. We need to talk calmly, and you start yelling, this is a whole problem. Walking away mid conversation. Now I have to admit, I personally am prone to doing that. Partly because for me, it's the only way to escape. But I do understand that, and that only happens with me if I feel like I'm being attacked and I can't get anything in. I have to leave the situation because, it throws me into something. Now, I am also very well aware that people with abandonment issues, that causes a problem for them too. So that's something that I've had to work on, and that's where setting boundaries and like, hey, we need to talk in a civilized tone. Let's not raise voices and things like that. So that setting boundaries will help in that. And I know I personally am guilty of that type of behavior. But I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on it. Trust me. I don't come on here and share things and help you and give you information that I ain't dealing with myself. This stuff is hard. This stuff is not easy. So it takes a while. It takes doing the work again. So I understand. But as long as you're still working on yourself, it makes everything easier. Healing takes time. So here, control triggers, ultimatums. You got to tell somebody you either going to do this or I'm going to do that. That sends people into stuff. They will shut down. They may even have the desire to do it, but will shut down just because you gave them an ultimatum. That's a trigger for some people. Boundary violations. If I say no to something and you keep pushing, that's a boundary violation. That will trigger somebody into something. Being pressured. Public embarrassment. Oh my gosh, don't correct me in public. Do not correct me in public. Again, we're going to have some problems. And you ain't seen a spiral like you have. Anyway, I'm getting messages that I'll have to, let me make sure I'm okay. Cause again, sometimes stuff be happening that again sends you into something. So, anyway, what am I still doing? So why do survivors spiral? Again, the trigger activates something in the body. It's usually some type of fear story that you're telling yourself or your body's telling you. And it causes you to respond in behaviors that are not acceptable a lot of times to other people. And it brings about shame, and then they'll go into isolation. Where are my notes? Let me keep going. So how do you interrupt a spiral? That's what I know a lot of people are trying to figure out. How do you interrupt a spiral? Because again, your mind, and I've said this before, your mind, you cannot control your thoughts. So when something comes at you unexpectedly, something comes at you and you were not prepared for it, you can't control what your mind starts thinking. Okay, you just can't. If you don't believe me, try to catch your thoughts. You have over 70,000 thoughts in a day. I promise you, you cannot control. Even right now, as I'm saying this, I instantly started thinking, what am I going to eat for lunch when I get off of this while I'm talking? So again, and if you're neurodivergent, you got any type of ADHD or any type, oh my gosh, you think you try to control it if you want to. They all over the squirrel, again, that's a joke, but that is real. So don't be ashamed when something comes to you like this and you're like thrown by it and you don't really know what to do. You can't control that, okay? But there are techniques that you can do, that you can embrace, that can help you in that moment. Because the biggest fear, I know for me personally, the biggest fear when I'm spiraling is what behavior is going to come up. How am I going to respond? Even if it's crying, if it's an anger, if it's, how am I going to respond? And is that going to embarrass me? And then I got to deal with the shame of it. Now I got to go hide for a week or 2 or 3 and then come back and hope you don't remember how I acted. I don't want to do all of that. I ain't got time for all this. Okay? I just don't. So, when you're faced with this type of situation and it comes up, you can interrupt the spiraling by giving yourself a grounding technique. There's a 4-step grounding protocol, okay? So grounding is it's doing things, learned behaviors, systems that you can embrace that bring you back in the moment. Because again, remember, that trigger is going to past thoughts, it's past fear, it's stuff that's already stored in your body that's happening to you. So when you think of PTSD, that car backfiring sends the veteran back into time where something has happened. And it's the same with complex PTSD. If someone yells at you, it could send you back into your childhood where someone, a parent, a teacher was yelling at you, and that fear that you felt as a little child shows up again. So you have to take yourself out of that past moment and bring yourself back into the current moment. And that's what grounding techniques do. So first you have to name the trigger. What just happened? What happened? Why am I feeling this? Slowing your thoughts down long enough to do this again can be tricky. But this is the first step that you have to do to put yourself back into the present moment. What was the trigger? Located in your body. Like I said, I feel mine in my chest. Some people feel sick in their stomach. Locate where you're finding this. My jaw would lock up with certain things. So locate where you're finding this so that you know that this is really, you can identify the physical reaction that you're having. This is in your body. This is not just in your brain. This is in your body first, not in your brain. And then ask yourself one question. Is this happening to me right now? Are they doing something to me right now? Or is this something that feels familiar? I was in a situation where someone started talking kind of reckless. It felt like they were talking reckless to me. And so I stood there for a minute because it took me aback. I was like, wait a minute, where did this come from? And I had to tell myself, especially, when you're going into new friendships and dating relationships, this happens often. When the new person that you're seeing or you're befriending says or does something and you feel something, you have to identify, is this because somebody else used to do this to me, or is this because this person is actually being disrespectful to me now? It's important that you know the difference so that you can give blame where blame is due. You don't want the current person to be penalized from what was being done before by somebody else. But you want to be aware of if they're being disrespectful to you now. And so this person was coming at me a certain way, and I had to stop right there in that moment and pause. Am I feeling this in my body because it's familiar from what somebody else is doing? Or do I need to be concerned about this person in this moment? Turned out I needed to be concerned about that person in that moment. It was certain behaviors that were not safe, and I dealt with it accordingly. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. We can keep talking about boundaries. I have, again, you want to talk about boundaries, I have a free boundary guide where you can, when people give you the boundary violation, and it gives you the answer to respond to that boundary violation. If you want that, let me know and I'll direct you to that. But then the last thing you want to do is you want to have a delayed reaction. You want to delay your reaction for by about 20 minutes. It'll take your body about 20 minutes to get back to a regulated state. Some grounding techniques in order to do that. You can use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you could hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. What it's doing is taking you out of all this over here, and it's putting you back into your present state, making you aware of who and what is around you to make your body feel safe. If you're at home, you can try different sensations like ice or even warm water. It puts you in a state of being present. Ice will shock you into reality. Oh my gosh, I'm right here. It's cold. I'm here. I'm not back there. I'm not over there. I'm right here. Okay? Pressing your feet down into the floor. Some people talk about going outside in your bare feet and actually touching the ground. Making yourself feel aware, physically aware of your surroundings. And there's other things like walking, breathing, smooth stones in your pocket. There are times that I realize I've picked up like a napkin or something, and I've twirled it into something, and so I'll keep twirling and feeling on that napkin, but it keeps me in a present state. Okay, so that's that. But there's also mental shifts that you can do. You can try counting from 100 backwards. Observation, pick a color. You know, my favorite color is purple, so I can start looking around the room and counting the purple things that I see. Affirmations, reminding yourself this is not happening in the moment. So these are things that you can do to bring yourself back into the present moment. Give yourself about 20 minutes before you respond physically, emotionally, verbally, anything, so that you can get out of that hypervigilant state. Okay? Now, you know, I don't just come on here and talk about, you know, the things that are happening, and I give information of what's physically happening, but it's time that we deal with our own bullshit, because what I also find is that in these unhealed states, some of the bullshit that we need to deal with is using these triggers as an excuse. A trigger, and I said it earlier, a trigger is not an excuse. Spiraling is not an excuse for bad behavior. It's a reason. It's important to understand the reason that you're doing what you're doing. But this does not give you the right to respond any old way that you want. So, do your work. Do the work that you need to do to lessen this. This doesn't mean that you won't spiral ever again. You know, but the next time you may go from a 10 down to a 7. It's progress. And you want to keep working and keep identifying and keep doing the things that you do so that you can bring it down to a 0, a 1, so that it's just maybe a few thoughts that you can easily get yourself out of that position. So, again, what triggers are not? 1, they're not someone else controlling you. People don't have to walk around on eggshells because you're in the room and you're emotionally fragile. Again, this is not you being weak. This is a real thing. You need to take care of it. But your expectation for people to behave a certain way so you don't get triggered, that's not their responsibility. That's your work. That's for you to take care of. It's not proof that the other person is automatically wrong. They could be right. They could be wrong as 2 left shoes, but they can actually be right. But because you've had a negative experience with someone using this against you, or manipulation tools and gaslighting and all that stuff, that doesn't mean that that's what they're doing. They could be right. Your triggering is still not their problem. It's for you to deal with. Okay? This is not a demand for people to change to avoid your feelings. Again, eggshells. Nobody has to walk around no damn eggshells to make you happy. That's not their job. Okay? If it's something that they continue to do and they're not respecting your position, then hey, that's where boundaries come in. That's for you. You take care of that with boundaries. But that you don't demand that anybody behave a certain way so that you can be okay. And again, like I said, it's not an excuse for harmful behavior and avoiding your responsibility. It's not an excuse. This is a reason. Reasons and excuses are two different things. Now, it's important to remember, and I'm going to keep reminding you of this, that you being triggered, you spiraling, it doesn't mean you're weak. It does not mean you're weak. It's your body remembering something and reminding you. It's an alarm response to remind you, hey, there's something here that I still need to take care of. And I need to figure out how to take care of it. It's not always easy for you to do. So you need therapy. You need a coach. You need a really good friend that's not going to berate you and question you and make you explain yourself. That's just going to that's going to hold space for you to be able to share, and hopefully help even guide you in the right direction of what you need to get healing. But healing is not blaming others. Again, this is about you healing. So don't sit up and start blaming other folks and they need to fix this and he triggering me and she said this and ain't nobody gonna. That's your job. That's your job to deal with and get the healing that you need for your particular trigger. I have a list of 50 common triggers that'll send you into something. If you want that, you can comment in the comments below and I can send that over to you. If you need some help identifying what's going on with you, I can help you with that. I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. See, that's what I'm saying. I got caught up in thinking about something else and I lost. You can't control where your thoughts go. You can't. All right. What was I getting ready to say? Oh my gosh. Somebody help me, please. Somebody help me. Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Yes. I don't know what I was getting ready to say. That's probably mean I need to go. Because the thought just really, what did I say? Excuses, dealing with the healing, doing what you need to do to make sure you're okay. Your triggers is just giving your body information that you need to heal. If you want the 50, that's what I was getting ready to say. Okay, all right. So, over the next few days, pay attention to, and not even the next few days. You might even just know it from different situations. What are your top three triggers? And pay attention to where they show up and pay attention to what your body is doing. Practice some of these grounding techniques and see if it makes a difference. Again, one grounding technique does not fit all. There may be other ways to bring you back into the present moment, to bring your body back into what is called homeostasis, that calm, normal chemical place that you are designed to live in. So, pay attention. Try some of the grounding techniques. Let me know what you come up with. Let me know if anything helps. Let me know if it makes something worse. Let me know if you're just like, oh my gosh, this is not helping me and I am completely out of control. I do have some programs that are coming up that will help take you through this process and help you to get back to that homeostasis state, that finding your footing, getting you off of that rocky ground. Because this is not always fun. It's not always, it's painful. Again, if healing was easy, everybody would do it. but it's not always easy. But trust me, it is definitely worth it. So that's all I have for today. If you're looking for me on YouTube, it will be up later. I'll probably cut that out because if you find me on YouTube, you're already on YouTube. Okay, now I'm rambling, so that means it's time for me to go. All right, you need any help? You need anything? Hey, remember, you can always ask Coach Dorie. But if you're not ready to do the work, don't ask me shit. All right? Have a good day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.